Okay. Mountainside bandsaw safety. Okay. Mountainside bandsaw safety. There's 3 bandsaws here. Here's one of them. This is another bandsaw. And the one over here. This is the big daddy of Mountainside for bandsaws. So I'll just show you how to adjust the guide, and I'll give you a little tour, and I'll show you what kind of things these bandsaws can do and how to use them safely. Okay, so all these bandsaws pretty well have the same features, they're just different sizes. So they all have this, I'll open this up and back up a little bit. They all have a wheel there and a wheel underneath. And the wheel just spins and the blade runs on the wheel. And there's the blade right here. They all have these bearings which guide the blade. And they all have this thrust bearing here, which so the blade doesn't get pushed to the back of the bandsaw. They all have the same things. Tabletop on and off switch. This on and off switch is down there on this guy. On and off switch here, but same thing. They got a guide and a bearing, and they have the same guides and bearings down below. So this is a miter fence, and you don't have to use the miter fence, but it just makes your cuts nice and straight. It slides in and out of this slot. They all have a couple of different features. This is how you adjust the height of the guide right here by twisting this and bringing this up and down. On this saw, the height of the guide and the guard is adjusted right here. And on this one, you spin this wheel right here, this set screw, just like this, and you wind it up like so. And then you pinch that in. So on these saws, you want these guides to be just above your wood. So in this case here, we've got a little bit too much blade showing. So I would lower it, set screw, down it comes. Set screw. That's a good height above my wood. On this saw, I've got way too much blade exposed, just increases the danger, and then the blade isn't guiding through close enough to your wood. So you have too much blade exposed, means you're running more risk. So you want this space to be smaller. And in this case, set screw, and then I'd lower this down. So that's a good distance above my wood right there. So safety concerns. You don't want to push in line of the cutter. There's your cutter, so you don't want to have anything behind, just like this would be a no-no. Have your hands to the side. Don't go too fast and don't twist the blade too much. This is a thin blade here. This is a thicker blade, wider blade. So you can do slight corners on this one, and you can do sharper corners on this one. Thinner the blade, the sharper corners you can do. Don't stand ever to the right of the blade, or the right of the saw. Right here in this case, on this saw, right here. and to the right of this. If the blade does break, it could hit the table and come out this way. So no one should ever stand here. You need to be nice and neat around the saw, nothing hanging down, hair tied up, no jewelry or loose clothing. You need to plan out your cuts using the bandsaw. So as I was saying before, you can do gentle curves, no problem. But you can't do right angle curves like this. If I was to cut this letter E out, I want to plan it out. So what I would do is I'd come in straight like this and then back out of that straight cut. That's called a relief cut. And then I would do the same thing here. Cut in and back out of that straight cut. And when you're backing out of a cut, you want to keep your eye on right here to see if the blade is being sucked out this way or pulled out this way, because you don't want it to come off its rollers. So if that's the case, stop it immediately. If the blade ever breaks, stop the saw if you can. If you can't, or it seems dangerous to do so, push the emergency stops around the room, which are located at each exit. Okay, here's me doing a couple relief cuts so I can cut out this area of the E right there. Turn the machine on. Straight in. Straight out. Keeping my eye on the blade and those guides. Do the same thing here. Notice where my hands are. At least 5 centimeters away. And it goes. If this was a curvy cut, I could not back out of it. You can't back out of curvy cuts. And now I would come in like so. On an angle. And my fingers are never in the path of the cutter either. Take this piece of wood and I want to cut it in half. I can do so. This is called resawing your wood, and you would just push it like so, and you can put a fence up on the bandsaw and run it along the fence, or you can just eyeball it, try to follow the middle of the piece of wood to get 2 even pieces. Wood that you cannot cut. You cannot cut like round or irregular shaped pieces of wood that aren't stable on the table. Okay, so this is round, and I cannot cut it if it's like this. That's not stable, and that will immediately rip it out of your hands, and it's a super dangerous cut. It needs to be really stable on the table. This is the table. I can cut, when it's flat, I can cut this piece of wood. So it's round, but I can cut it on this plane because it's nice and stable. So I can cut an edge off like this. But as you'll notice, way too much blade showing here. How do I change that? Well, this set screw and this wheel.